There are some sick people in this world, Matt Tate. Unfortunately, you're not one of them, and I, Tom Keegan, am not one of them either. Wow. But there are some sick people in this world, like Robert Durst. Check out the HBO special. But for today, we're not going to be talking about sick people. We're going to be talking about a team that has had its problems lately, and that would be the Kansas basketball team. But first, let's start off with some good news about the Kansas basketball team, or about whatever you deem to be good news.
Well, I like when it's nice outside, but it's not, so that's not good news. I like the Broncos. Do you guys know about that? Should we get – now we better stop? Okay, I don't want to go into that yet.
It's called KU Sports Extra.
KU Sports Extra. The good news for KU this week, without question, is the fact that the Baylor Bears came through and knocked off Iowa State in Ames, Iowa, pretty much erasing the damage that was done by KU losing in Manhattan on Monday night. I mean, it just goes that way. You win 10 in a row, about to be 11. You're going to have those things happen. You don't win that many without catching a few breaks. And my goodness, that's the biggest break ever, because Iowa State was definitely in position to make this a real race and to really challenge KU for that title. And now you can't paint any other scenario than KU at least being in pretty good shape to at least have a share of this thing going forward. 3 games left, 2 of them are at home, one of them Saturday against Texas. That was a huge favor by Baylor.
But that's the Big 12, but the unusual thing is that it happened on Iowa State's home court.
Right, that was the shocking part. There's no doubt about it. I mean, Iowa State is by no means a juggernaut, but they're really talented and they play so well at home. For Baylor to go up there, I mean, it makes me think Baylor's as hot as anybody right now, and should be a team you keep an eye out for when the Big 12 tournament gets here. No doubt about it, because, gosh, that thing's going to be great. I wish it started tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or today.
Well, not me. I want to see this thing play out.
Okay.
I was getting to those doldrums, like, all right, let's just get to the postseason. But things are just so interesting now.
Yeah, and I mean, we talked about it in a podcast we did earlier this week. Texas at home, not going to be an easy game.
No.
West Virginia at home, not necessarily going to be an easy game. And then Oklahoma on the road, definitely not an easy game. So, as Bill Self mentioned this week in his press conference, we still have to take care of business, is what Self said. And they do, but they've lost 9 games in Self's time at Kansas. The odds of them losing 2 in the same week, not good.
No, not good at all, but they wouldn't have to lose 2.
That's true.
They have to just lose 1 at home and 1 on the road. And then
I like math. I'm not very good at it, but I like math. So
but if you like, first, if you like math, Kansas has lost 9 games. Self has been 9 in the first 12 years. This is his 13th year.
Sure.
So 9 in it's his 12th year.
Right. Yeah.
So 9 in his first 11 years, which means it's almost 1 per year. Are they due to lose to get closer to that average, or do they run the table at home? And that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because a lot of those came pretty early, and bam, 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 and then he put some distance between those home losses. I mean, it's been a while. Obviously, San Diego State last year, but a home conference loss. Little different story.
They'll be favored.
Few of those.
They'll be favored twice. The bad news is that Kansas was swept this week in basketball by Kansas State. Of course, in the men's game, Kansas State wins at home, and then Kansas State women visit Allen Fieldhouse on Wednesday night and get a victory. A big victory where they had 12-0 run late when Kansas started turning it over, as they do. Monday night is the senior night for the Kansas women's basketball, which means Asia Boyd, whose career has ended with an injury. Chelsea Gardner, 1,000-point scorer. Early in the year she accomplished that. Natalie Knight, 1,000-point scorer. I encourage everybody to go out there on Monday night and give them a big turnout, and also it could be Bonnie Hendrickson's senior night. I believe that this will be her last year as a head coach, and she brought some highlights. There just weren't enough of them. Danielle McRae leading the team to the WNIT final. Angel Goodrich with back-to-back Sweet 16 appearances. That's fun stuff to remember, and you got to thank Bonnie for that. Go out there Monday night, thank them all, show them a big-time crowd, and show them a good time. And So things have got to turn around eventually because the atmosphere there just is not exciting enough and the crowds are not big enough.
Yeah, it was K-State, and there was a bigger crowd. There were more students there the other night than I've seen, maybe in all the women's games I've covered combined. Big reason for that, they were giving away Beats by Dre headphones. They were giving away an Xbox. They were giving away all kinds of stuff, so the students showed up. They wanted a piece. They wanted the prizes. So why not give those away every game?
Who wouldn't want Beats by Dre headphones?
Yeah, you do.
Well, yeah.
The neon ones I've heard you looking up online. Click, click, click. And then you see the $5,000 price tag, and you just
Not
go
for
back
me.
to what you regularly look at on the internet.
Right,
Like
$4 headphones.
Golf tips. That's
Yeah,
what I
well,
meant.
there's that.
Golf tips. But yeah, I was surprised it wasn't a little bigger crowd. Look, KU fans were upset about Stormgate over there, the court storming in Manhattan. They were furious about that. I think there would have been nothing cooler than if KU fans put their money where their mouths were, showed up, packed down Fieldhouse, and then if the women had won, rushed the floor.
No, because they're upset that K-State rushed the floor.
Yeah, but what?
Don't rush the floor.
Ooh, that would have really hurt.
Yeah.
But either way, there was the same number of fans, save for a few Beats by Dre, Tom Keegan wannabes. All right, statistically speaking, let's go with a guy who's as hot as anybody, Perry Ellis. Good stat, bad stat for Perry Ellis. I think it's going to be a challenge for you to find a bad stat, but I bet you have one.
It's really a good bad stat, but his career three-point percentage, Perry Ellis, is .431. Think about that, a 43% three-point percentage for his career. That means he's a darn good three-point shooter. Now, the bad stat is he's only attempted 58 in his career, 38 this season. I want to see him take more threes, then he'll be even tougher to guard. He's so good driving because he's a good ball handler.
Right.
He's good posting up and spinning from there. He's a good three-point shooter. Just become a little bit of a ball hog here, and that's going to make Kansas tougher to defend.
I think he definitely looks locked in, looks like a guy that's comfortable knowing the offense runs through him, and I think the rest of his teammates are comfortable with that too. Every time they catch it, they look for Perry. They look for Perry. They look for Perry. I'm sure that's been drilled in their heads by the coaching staff over the last few weeks of practice, but man, it's good to see them doing it because that's the right move.
Yeah, and he's averaged
Perry.
21 points a game the last 4 games and shooting something like 65% in those 4 games. So you get it to him, he's going to make it.
Not enough three-pointers is the bad stat. That's a stretch. from a power forward, no less.
Yes.
All right, well, let's talk about this weekend real quick. As I mentioned, Texas comes into Allen Fieldhouse on Saturday afternoon. The last time these two played in Austin, you were there, it was probably KU's best game of the year. If not the best, certainly one of the best. Everything clicked. They looked great on both ends. Everything was just going well for that team that day. Did they just fall right back into that this weekend and repeat that?
No, and I don't think they will just think they can fall back into it.
Right.
I think they realize they've got to bring their best game. You know something, Myles Turner was just finding his way last time they played him, and he was too much out on the perimeter, and Rick Barnes really publicly urged him to get closer to the basket, and Myles Turner has. And closer to the basket means he's going to do more damage. He's a good shot blocker. Gets the ball off quickly today. Self was mentioning that he gets the ball off very quickly inside, so it's not like you can double him. He poses a problem. This is not an easy win for Kansas. Never mind what the record is. These teams in the Big 12 are all so good that there's not a whole lot of difference between the top and the middle. There really isn't. I'm really looking forward to this game. I think Texas is going to bring it, and I think Kansas is going to bring it. I think it'll be a well-played game.
I think so, too. I'm excited for a couple of reasons. Both teams have a ton to play for. The stakes are incredibly high for both teams. KU's got to win to hold serve and keep themselves in line to win that Big 12 championship number 11 in a row. Texas has got to win, or at least play well and finish strong, to make sure they're a solid tournament team. I mean, they're probably in pretty good shape there right now, but it doesn't hurt to finish strong and kind of make that convincing argument late. So both teams are going to be fired up about that opportunity or their respective opportunities. And, yeah, I think it's going to be big. Who do you pick?
I'm picking Kansas here just because it's so hard to pick against Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse. It's only happened 9 times in his 12th season.
And if you do the math, maybe they're due. I heard that somewhere. Because it'd be one a year.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard that?
So 9 in his first 11 years, which means it's almost 1 per year. Are they due? I have. I like math, but I really like math.
Fair enough. I've got KU as well. 71-62. It was 75-62 down there. I think the Fieldhouse thing is too much. I agree with you. And I think KU losing at Manhattan, at K-State, did Texas no favors. These guys are going to be fired up, not to prove something to Texas, but to prove something to the world that they're bitter, they're a little upset about that.
I wish it were that simple. I just don't know that this is a typically talented Kansas team.
That's true. That's a good point. Well, let's talk about a player that you think will play well. Your primetime pick, some call it. KU Texas, primetime pick. And no, you can't pick Tyler Self.
He was there with some of his buddies on the team at the women's game.
Yeah,
so
35 football players showed up to that game. 6 or 7 men's basketball players. Yeah. It was cool for them to come out and support. So if it's
cool enough for them to come out and support, you'd think maybe that the community would get behind it because the community's so behind the
other program.
Right.
Primetime pick.
All right. In the stock world, I'll give you a quick tip.
Oh, God.
Kids.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, as you were.
You buy low and sell high, as opposed to buying high and selling low. So, I'm going to make Brandon Green, who's have been struggling of late.
His stock is low
right
now. Okay, I got you.
They've been guarding him tightly, and he hasn't adjusted yet. I'm going to say he's going to adjust to this tighter defense and have a big game here, and they'll find him when he pops open. And I'm buying low.
I think it's a great pick. He's due to make some shots. It feels like a while since you've watched him just knock in a few in a row or something like that. He was 4 for 5 from 3-point range, I think, at Texas. And Self talked about this week, the guards have to do a better job getting him and other guys shots. Drive to pass, especially Frank Mason getting the paint. And if they're focusing on that, I agree, Green will probably be open. My primetime pick might also be open, and you're going to love him. Because if he is open and he is behind the 3-point line,
he'll make it.
You're going to love it.
43% of the time. I think you're picking Perry Ellis.
I am picking Perry Ellis.
Safe pick.
Because I'd be a fool not to. The guy is playing such good basketball right now. He looks locked in. He looks aggressive. He looks strong. And he's scoring however he wants to. He's scoring left-handed, right-handed, rebounds, dunks. I mean, he's really playing well. There's no reason to think he won't continue that. Against Texas, even though it'll be a tough challenge with Ridley in there, with Turner in there. I mean, he's always struggled against length and bigger bodies, but I think he's playing so well right now. Forget it.
And obviously we like the job Perry Ellis is doing on the court. Our magazine that comes out, our basketball spring magazine, the March magazine, that comes with our to subscribers. Gary Bedore has a terrific piece on Perry Ellis off the court and all the stuff he quietly does to help youth groups in Wichita or Wichita groups that visit Lawrence. It's really good, and it gets you a little insight into why we like Perry Ellis
Absolutely.
So much as a guy.
Good person.
Now, do we like Gary Bedore? We'd like him better if he came on the show, but we'll talk about that later.
We will. Perhaps actually right now. Let's do it right now.
Okay.
It's viewer comment time, and this week, Kent Wells is our guy. Thanks for the comment. Kent, all kinds of people threw theirs out there as well. And again, if you would like to comment and see yours read right here, probably by me, reacted to, though, by Tom Keegan.
Because I can't read.
Then hit Benton Smith with an email, basmith@ljworld.com, or send us your comment on Twitter at KUsports or with the hashtag AskExtra. The comment from Kent Wells, I love it. Kent Wells says, my comment/question, is Gary Bedore above all this? I mean, just a 3-minute guest spot is all we're asking for. Create something for him where he can participate. He's got way too much institutional knowledge to not participate. Is he union? Is he shy? We want Gary. We want Gary.
I love that.
Great stuff. And let's be honest, we want Gary too. You've tried to get him. I've tried to get him. We've both tried to get him. It hasn't worked. So this week, after we saw Ken's comment, we put Benton Smith on it, and we tried to have him maybe go through the proper channels. He did, and we appreciate Benton's efforts. But Benton got this email from Gary's agent, and I'll read it to you. It says, "Dear Mr. Smith, thank you for inquiring about the availability of my client, Gary Bedore, to come on KU Sports Extra. As you know, March is right around the corner, and this is the time of the year when requests for Mr. Bedore's time are through the roof. It's not that he's not interested in appearing on KU Sports Extra, though he's never really reacted favorably when approached about it in the past. It's just that right now he can't commit to anything beyond the moment, and at this time we have to respectfully decline the invitation. My condolences. Joe Schlabotnik."
Wasn't he Charlie Brown's agent too?
Yeah, I think so. But either way, I mean, we appreciate the response. I know there are a lot of demands for Gary's time. But I like what Kent's talking about. I do. I like creating a segment, a 3-minute spot in all this madness where we just let Gary go, or maybe we even get out of the way and just let him comment, let him pontificate, let him be Gary. Is there anything that comes to mind?
Well, maybe if he's camera shy, we could put a silhouette.
Okay, one of those
of Gary, like get an artist rendering. Change the voice. I don't know if we have the technology to do that quite yet.
Listen,
well,
it doesn't sound anything like me.
No, it doesn't. There's nothing muffled about you.
Good point. So, yeah, silhouette, change the voice. Gary,
he does have institutional knowledge. I love that phrase used by Gary Bedore because there's no better resource.
Yeah. So we're going to keep trying. Tom's going to keep trying.
Last time I'll give Gary, I don't want to use the word props because I'm way too old to use that.
But you just did.
I'll give him credit. I'm not Dan Patrick. I'll give him credit for making it a quick conversation last time. I said, "Gary, you ever going to come on KU Sports Extra?" "No." And kept walking.
Moving on, right? Yeah. Well, that's, Charlie Weiss, right? I'm not going to say those Notre Dame players in the national title game are my guys.
Right.
I wouldn't say that.
I still, to this day, can't believe the Patriots won the Super Bowl that Tommy won a Super Bowl without Charlie. Just blows me away.
Yeah. You felt good for Tommy to finally do it without.
Yeah. Now Tommy can get some of the credit.
All right. Well, we're going to keep working on Gary. Benton's going to keep working on Gary. It's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen. If we have to ante up and pay more or something.
We have to sell our cars and walk to work. It's going to happen.
Yeah, we've got to get his attention. There's no doubt. And, we do have a road trip coming up with Gary to Oklahoma, that March 7th game. Maybe we can just pester him the entire 4 or 5 hour drive and just.
Well, if we're going to be pestering him, we better make sure someone else is driving because you don't want to pester the driver.
He does drive quite a bit. We'll get Nick to drive. Nick Krug, maybe.
I like that.
Okay. Nick Krug drives. Gary sits in the back. All the luggage is in the front seat. Gary sits in the back middle between you and me.
And we pester
him. That's for you, Kent. For the rest of you, remember, basmith@ljworld.com, at KU Sports on Twitter, or the hashtag AskExtra for all your comments. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear a lot from you. Let's finish it up. Most obnoxious man in sports this week. And we're not going to go with Nathan Power because way too much was made about the court storming. He apologized. We're all moving on.
Power to the people, I'm sorry. Basically is what you could say about Power's reaction.
You could, and you just did.
I did.
So who do you got? If it's not Nathan Power, the K-State student, who do you have as the most obnoxious person in sports?
It's the president of an elementary school basketball league in Illinois. Because there's a girl who was playing on a boys' team all season, and at the last minute, the president says that she's banned from playing in the playoffs because obviously one of the other coaches probably found the rule somewhere in an attic, and they disappoint this girl and her teammates by banning her at the last minute. It's so low. Bad move. Bad move.
Yeah, that's obnoxious. I love the idea of elementary school playoffs, though. I mean, I was on a fourth grade team. We were 9-0, and then we just went home. There was no playoffs. We had our T-shirt on. It was not what it is today.
No, we had cool uniforms when I was in grade school.
What did they look like?
They were purple and gold and white. It was very much a Lakers look, and this was in the short shorts era.
Oh, baby. That's all we'll say about that. Although Coach Self talked about that a little bit during his press conference this week. He said, and I quote, "If you own a pair of those and you gave them away, you're probably not going to want those back." I don't think he thinks the trend's coming back, and thank goodness for that. All right, my obnoxious person in sports is not that different from yours, really. A little bit. There are college coaches out there who have been offering scholarships to LeBron James Jr. Sounds like a good idea. LeBron James Jr. is probably pretty good if LeBron James Sr. is pretty good.
He's
LeBron
what, is he
James
2 years
Jr.
old?
is
2 months? 10?
He's 10. And I'm telling you what, he is good. You guys watch Google it, YouTube it. It's sick how talented this
Seriously?
kid is. I'm not kidding. I watched some film while I was looking for this.
Did LeBron's wife play basketball?
I don't know about that. Probably. I mean, the kid is like a freak, and it can't all come from the dad.
It could. He's an amazing athlete. He'd be good at any sport.
That's true. But LeBron Jr. definitely can play. He's definitely got some game. But he's 10 years old. And credit LeBron Sr. for saying, stop recruiting my kid. He's 10 years old. So.
Oh, I thought he was going to say, stop recruiting my kid. By the time he's 18,
he's going straight to the
we're going to make sure that one and done rule is gone and you can go straight out of high school.
There you go. Yeah, well, John Calipari from Kentucky, Thad Matta from in-state Ohio State. Those guys have both gone on record saying
that's where
he's on their radar.
LeBron committed to Ohio State.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. There was no literature that I could find that said they offered, but there are schools that have been offering, and that's just crazy. It's happened before. Guys have been offered that young or 8th grade or whatever, but not cool. It's obnoxious. It
is.
And especially because it's LeBron's kid. You know, go find Fab
Sean
Melo's
Kemp's kid or something.
You know? Yeah, right. Fab Melo, he never really turned out to be anything outside of Syracuse. Maybe his kid is good. I don't know. But anyway, it's obnoxious. I don't like it. You like it?
No.
Okay. Elementary presidents and college recruiters. We're coming
obnoxious.
for you. All right, that's all we've got. KU Texas at Allen Fieldhouse this weekend, and then it's crunch time, the final week of the regular season for Big 12 play. It'll be March next time we talk to you, and you guys know what that means. No,
madness.
It doesn't mean Gary Bedore. It just doesn't.
You never know.
Okay, we'll leave you with that. Thanks for checking out this episode. We'll see you guys throughout the week at KUsports.com. Take care.